Welcome to the American Forked Podcast. This is our podcast where some longtime friends, I don't say lifetime friends yet because our lives aren't over and our friendships may end before we die. So longtime friends.
But to be a lifetime friend, you have to be friends like at birth and then all the way till you die.
It's true. I guess we're not lifetime friends.
There's no such thing.
We've already lost that qualification. Longtime friends. We get together and we talk about a lot of things that we agree and disagree on, and we still hug each other at the end of the day. And we like to make people mad at us with some of our opinions. It happens. Trust us.
Excellent.
You can find us at AmericanForks.com. If you go to our website, you can click on our profiles. And it was the About Us page.
Yep.
That has a lot of probably false information. It's full of fake news about us.
I think it says that you own like 9 houses.
Yeah, and I have 4 kids when I really have 3.
4 kids.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So that's neat.
See, I did that intentionally, though. Not because I didn't actually know the real facts.
Right.
Because I was just trying to throw people off.
Right. Because, yeah, the more false it is, the harder it is to identify who we are.
See?
So go there and read our funny profiles.
Jeff, quit looking at us like we're not even funny.
Well, if you're not funny, then I'll look at you exactly how I think you look.
Okay. We'll plan on that.
That didn't make sense.
If you don't follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook, please do so. And you can see our posts. We let you guys know what episodes, when our episodes come out every week. And we ask questions and try to spark conversation. So we're on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at American Forked. And if you would like to, we do ask that you please rate and review the show on iTunes or Apple Podcasts. That helps the algorithms or whatever they say.
That's what I hear.
It helps make the show appear more on people's search results. And
push it to the top.
Push it to the top.
Push it up.
And that's our householding. So today we have myself. This is Jake. And sitting next to me on my right, I have Phil.
This is Phil. How are you doing?
Phil's with me. And to his right, we have a screen with Jeff on it.
I am Jeff.
Hi, Jeff.
101001101.
Thank you. I think you missed a couple zeros there, but that's okay. And to the right of the screen is our special guest for tonight. Main topic, Matthew. Matthew's going to be our subject under the magnifying glass tonight.
I am Matthew.
I'm Matthew
Johnson.
Not to be confused with Mike, who is related to Matthew.
In a close fashion.
When he speaks, don't think that we're talking to Mike, because we're not. Even though it sounds like we're talking to Mike.
He does sound exactly like Mike, but he's kind of, imagine a handsomer version.
I am Mike's little brother, and
Yeah.
some people, like Phil, refer to me as the newer, improved version of Mike.
Yeah.
At least in looks.
Yeah. The newer,
But apparently my voice is
handsomer one.
New and improved version.
Mike 2.0.
Exactly.
Mike was the beta version of himself. We love Mike.
Love you, Mike.
And I think Mike knows that because we tell him a lot.
I love Mike too.
Yeah, we do love him, even if he is inferiorly handsome. Is inferiorly a word?
It is now.
Although
It'll be in
he
the
can grow a
dictionary next
beard,
week.
kind of,
Yeah?
and I can't.
Oh,
at
really?
All, at all.
Oh.
Mike used to not be able to grow a beard, and it's come in pretty thick
Probably
now.
when he turned 35, he could kind of do it.
Yeah.
I've
Couple
still got
years ago, he
7
got
more
it.
years to get to 35.
Yeah.
And maybe, who knows?
Yeah, we tease Mike that he rocks the, what's that guy's name?
Ted Cruz?
Ted Cruz, look.
Yeah, he's our Ted Cruz doppelganger.
Yeah. Anyway.
So, before we get to our main topic of Matthew today, we are going to talk about some news articles. And nothing's going on American Fork, really, at all. We do have a situation in Provo that occurred today. And honestly, I just read the headline, and I was like, oh, we should talk about that, because I'm sure somebody will know about it. And turns out Phil is the subject matter expert in the room, at least, on this topic.
I sure am.
At Provo High School. Go ahead, Jeff.
Oh, I was just going to say that I haven't heard one bit about this at all. So there's varying degrees. Phil's like the Today Report expert. Jake's like middle ground, read the headline. I don't know what's going on. I don't know my left from right hand.
We have all sides of the spectrum.
Well,
on this one.
I've only heard like second or third hand through people. But what I heard is that at Provo High School today, 2 guys got in a fight, which was common in high school.
Mm-hmm. Normal.
Yeah.
Has to be expected.
But one of them pulled a gun, and I guess they locked that whole school down, and police came and took him into detention. That's all I know.
He got detention, so he had to
What a great place
stay
for a
after
person
school
with
to
a
do
gun.
homework.
He what?
Like in school detention or
Juvenile
law enforcement detention.
Yeah, like policemen.
So he didn't have to stay after school and do
So
like
I thought you were talking
extra,
about like tardy school or something.
Oh yeah.
He didn't have to do extra science.
He's probably going to get that too. He's probably going to be like in school tomorrow writing 400 times on the chalkboard, I will not pull a gun on a student, or I will not bring a gun to school. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
that'd be an
that's
episode of
frightening,
Simpsons.
I guess.
Yeah, it is. It doesn't. I mean, shootings are pretty common recently, but when it's at Provo High School, which is pretty close, local, it's kind of
Yeah.
Another thing is this is kind of like nationwide in Utah because the article's in Utah, but there's a destructive TikTok trend that has hit local schools, and it's known as the devious licks trend, where
On TikTok.
you record a video of yourself vandalizing or stealing something from your school, and you hashtag devious licks. And
It's not, you don't lick something.
nope, it's hashtag devious licks, and you basically try to get popular by being a dereliction rebel.
And just
So I don't know nothing about this one. Just kidding. I was just talking to 2 of my kids that they had announcements at their school today specifically discussing this.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Like it's a problem.
And go. Yeah, and they flat out said, "Hey, this is a TikTok thing. Anyone caught doing this is going to get their right arm chopped off or something," which I think is part of the discussion later. But yeah, they just
That's intense.
They clamped it down.
You're in Granite School District, right?
Yeah, Granite.
So according to this article, it
Did I just give away where I live?
yeah, you told us that you live by that new chicken place in.
I'm telling you, that serial killer is just putting it all together. What do we got now? Granite School District, the new Walmart, the chicken place. Once that's triangulated, he's coming for you.
I getcha.
Yeah.
So I guess it hit hard, especially in the Canyon and Granite School Districts. Granite School District, I guess every school in the district has had a case of this situation, where anyway, they sent letters home to the teachers and were on the announcements, and the school is saying, "Don't be stupid."
And TikTok is like the app where people are like dancing. Like you film yourself dancing. Is that the point of it?
Yeah, that's one of the kind of the epitome of introduction into TikTok is it's just teenage girls dancing.
You have it, don't
Which
you? Show
in
it to me on
reality,
your phone.
It is, but it's like anything. It's really like short video clips. It's like Vine used to be. You know what Vine was?
Nope.
They had like 6-second video clips of whatever, like magic tricks or inspirational speaking or gardening or
Singing.
singing. Yeah, a lot of different things, and you really have kind of like a fine-tuned profile where you watch videos that are based on your interests. And it did get really popular by young kids dancing to popular songs.
Yeah.
And anyway, so it's a hugely popular app among high school age kids. And so the desire to go viral is kind of what pushes a lot of the trends that go on within TikTok. And in this case, and in fact, TikTok has actually banned the hashtag devious licks. And so there's a way, students figured out a way around it to do other types of other hashtags to anyways kind of get viral. And so, yeah, Utah's not immune to stupid teenager activities.
That's so funny because for the first time I just kind of thought of like, I used to think of like programmers, like people that would work at like TikTok or Facebook as these like young hip kids. But now they're probably like the older people, and the young high school kids are just like working right around whatever like password, just like us and our parents when we were growing up, like put some password on the computer, like, oh, I know how to reset this.
Know how to get around it better than the people that created it.
Exactly. So that's funny.
Does China still own TikTok, or did somebody acquire them?
I don't know what the official thing was, but I know Microsoft was wanting to buy them.
Yeah, I vaguely remember Trump saying we need to buy them, or he was going to force a sale or something, but maybe that didn't pan out.
He was going to ban it?
He wanted to ban it.
Yeah, I think he was going to ban it unless a U.S. company owned it, like so they had the option to sell, but maybe that didn't happen.
Well, I was on board with Trump 1,000%. It had nothing to do with anything other than I want to ban TikTok because it's the most addictive it's the most addictive app ever. They have like perfected the infinite scroll.
Wait, you are on, you use TikTok?
Yeah, and I got over it after a 12-step program.
TikTok's anonymous.
So it's like Facebook where you just keep scrolling and scrolling.
No.
But you
It is
scroll
nothing
through
like
videos?
Facebook. Yeah, they're like short videos. But I'm not joking. They have perfected the infinite scroll.
Jake's just showing me some people talking.
It's just a quick scroll right to the next video. They have a For You page. As soon as you open it, it takes you to the For You page. And these are all the videos that they recommend you may like, the accounts you might like based on the other accounts that you like. And you just scroll through.
Phil, Jake is a drug dealer right now.
Yeah.
I really actually got that impression. He was like
get addicted.
Getting so excited. Like
auto detailing. This guy.
I'm also wondering what it recommended for you.
Yeah.
Carpentry.
There was like a couple girls on there at first.
Yeah.
They might have been underage.
They happened to be girls. That girl was a comedian because I follow a lot of comedians.
Now a guy in space.
Was it Elon?
No, it's
or Jeff.
What appears to be maybe an astronaut hooking up something on the space station, maybe?
Look at how quickly this podcast just got sucked into TikTok. I think we do need to ban it.
Or create a TikTok account for American Forked.
Yeah. Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
Right, Jeff?
Then you can get back into it, Jeff.
All the social medias.
No.
Yeah.
The first one's always free, I'm telling you. And then next thing you know, you're boiling it in a spoon and shooting it up your veins.
Yep.
Which is a metaphor for using TikTok, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's it.
Heroin.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So TikTok can be very, very bad. It also can be very educational.
For all our underage kids that are listeners, which I'm sure there's a few thousand of them that listen to us, don't destroy things in your school and take soap dispensers and break mirrors. Come on.
Yeah. You didn't buy it. It's not yours.
I don't know, Jeff. Like, to get some fame for that, like even briefly, a bunch of likes, it's pretty motivating.
Yeah, because the world will remember you the next day, right?
And Phil's addicted now.
No, if I were in high school right now, I'd probably be the leader that created the kissy tag. What did you call it? Lick something?
Devious licks.
Devious licks.
The hashtag.
Kissy tag.
Hashtag.
The hash kiss.
I merged kiss and tag together.
Yep.
Devious licks sounds like a guitar hashtag though. Like Tenacious D's Devious Licks. Hashtag Devious Licks.
That was
Play the guitar.
Lick.
Bro.
I can see that.
That works.
Can you do a devious lick on a piano?
I've never tried it, but I will now. Next time I'm in front of one.
But it is a string instrument, right?
This is known as the devious lick chord.
Well, there's actually a debate in the music world as to whether a piano is a stringed instrument or a percussion instrument.
Oh,
I'm gonna clarify that in the main event.
Okay.
I mean,
we
the
can
main
wait.
subject.
Oh yeah,
We can wait.
We'll hash that out for sure, 100%. Before we get to that, I have another item of discussion. This one is a lot more lighthearted, and I tend to gravitate towards things that make Utah great. It's kind of been the trend when I host the show. In this case, obviously, I think it's very well known that a lot of movie and film producers like Utah because of the scenery and the ease of access to a lot of different resorts and things like that. And
you can film as though you're on the surface of Mars.
Right.
Every movie about Mars ever was filmed here. That's what I decided.
Goblin Valley. That was what was the Tim Allen movie about Mars?
Galaxy Quest.
Galaxy Quest. Wasn't that filmed at Goblin Valley?
It was.
That wasn't on the list. In fact, there were a lot not on this list that I... Anyway, this is a list of movies that were filmed in Utah, and you may, well, if you're listening, or if you're here in the room with me, you may or may not know some of these movies were filmed in Utah.
What are they?
The first one is Sandlot.
Yep.
I think I knew that.
Sandlot, known for many iconic lines such as, "You play ball like a girl and you're killing me, Smalls." The Sandlot has long been celebrated as one of the most beloved and watched movies to be filmed entirely in Utah. On the movie's 28th anniversary, the movie's director, David Mickey Evans, explained to ABC4.com that he chose Utah as a shooting location because the area served as a near-exact replica of his memories of 1962 San Fernando, California.
It's great film, though. Mm-hmm. We watched it over the 4th of July weekend, and it's like the perfect 4th of July movie. There's not a lot, I realize, not a lot of 4th of July family films.
What about Independence Day?
I was going to think the same
yeah,
thing.
That's the one I had in my mind, but nothing else.
My kids are pretty young, so we don't go quite that out on the 4th of July
Punching
weekend.
aliens in the face.
I mean, my wife and I
violent.
watch it every 4th of July, of course, because why not celebrate the true meaning of...
Time for mom and dad to watch.
What's the age limit for aliens? Letting your kids watch aliens?
I think it was the strip club scene that did it for us. Like, I think we'll hold off on this
They
one.
have that
till
in there?
Yeah.
Interesting.
But aliens, I think, are cool.
Okay.
I don't ever remember aliens stripping in that movie.
They do. They just like get right to it. So
They don't even wear clothes in the first place.
yeah,
They're already...
Opening credits.
it's like a reverse stripping. Like they dress along the way. Do you understand?
They're stripping off skin from human beings.
Yep.
Yeah. Next one, guys. High School Musical 1, 2, and 3. If you're familiar with the movie.
Nope. Next one.
Well, this is Zac Efron movie. So it took place at East High School in New Mexico, Albuquerque, New Mexico, but it was filmed at the East High School in, not Murray,
Taylorsville.
It's in Salt Lake
West
City.
Valley.
yeah, East High
Cottonwood
School.
Heights.
It is Salt Lake City. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah.
So it looks just like the movie still. There are a lot of backdrops that are original from the film and that are still existing today. So that's a good one. Pirates of the Caribbean at World's End. I didn't know that.
Salt Flats.
Oh, they did. They have the Salt Flats on there. I don't remember the Salt Flats part of it.
Yeah, wasn't he like dragging a ship by himself
With crabs.
with crabs?
Tons of little crabs.
They were like carrying the ship for him.
Well, I was just going to say I've never seen Pirates of the Caribbean, but I did see Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, stop it. I corrected myself.
Isn't it? Isn't it Caribbean?
I really don't know which is like correct.
I say
Or couth?
Caribbean, and my mother, who is from England, says Caribbean.
Well, no,
Okay.
I say
So she must be right.
I say Caribbean to refer to the Caribbean, but I thought it has always been Pirates of the Caribbean.
And now that I think about
Maybe
it,
because that's how pirates say it, or said
maybe.
it.
Well,
Did they
Here's
even
what I
say the
know.
word Caribbean in the movie?
I don't know.
here's what I know is that no matter what Jake would have said, I would have said the opposite.
Right. So whichever one it
So-
was.
Yeah.
But now that you're thinking about it, when I was in St. Lucia, we referred to it as Eastern Caribbean. So I guess it would be Pirates of the Caribbean. The Caribbean sounds better.
Yeah, because it's like piratey. Yard. You know.
So the next movie on the list, fourth one, is Dumb and Dumber. One of the most, in my opinion, the most funny, best comedy movie ever produced.
Wow.
It was filmed. The airport scene was in Salt Lake. The Aspen, Colorado section of the movie, part of the movie, was actually filmed in Park City.
Wow.
The Samsonite scene where they're looking on the briefcase. What's their names? Slippy, Slammy, Swippy,
Samsonite.
Swanson. Check the briefcase. Oh, Samsonite. I was way off. That was at Main Street, Park City.
Jake has the eyes of reminiscence right now. I
love that movie so
loving
much.
that movie.
Next one is Footloose, as we all know. A lot of it took place in American Fork itself at the church where the dance took place. And also the Kevin Bacon character worked at Lehigh Roller Mills, which is right by Lehigh High School. And it's still there and operating. So,
Is it? Mm-hmm. I thought I heard it was closing down like 4 different times.
yeah, they opened up I think it's a warehouse or like a distribution center in American Fork, just off the freeway. I guess that's where they produce a lot of their stuff, but the roller mills are still there. Doors are open.
Don't you live over there, Matt? Don't you buy all your flour there?
No, I buy my flour from Costco.
Oh, well, nobody knows that.
I don't know.
It may be closed.
The building is still there.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen that big tower that we used to climb. I mean, what?
That was fun. We climbed a big tower in Lehigh.
It was pretty high. It's got to be like a couple 100 feet.
Did we get caught?
Yep.
It was fun. Next movie is Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. Paul Newman and Robert Redford starred in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid. At one point, the 1969 Western the Western film was easily and most seen and famous movie to be shot in Utah. The film has since been added to the National Film Registry by the Library of Congress. It took place in southern Utah as a deserty western landscape, as we have heretofore mentioned. And you could see the natural wonders of Zion's National Park and Snow Canyon State Park. That's a good old film.
It's a good one.
Sundance Kid?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The next one is
Classic.
I guess a series of a bunch of Hallmark and Lifetime movies that all of us have probably seen. Took place in Utah as well. So that's all that this article
Good list.
lists, but I know that there are a ton more.
Wait, did you just say you think we've seen all the Hallmark movies?
No, many of the Hallmark movies that we have seen, we have probably noticed Utah landscapes.
I was actually going to say I've intentionally never watched a Hallmark movie.
Really?
So,
They're tough to get through.
Yeah.
That some of them are pretty cheesy.
Yeah.
But there are a
But
few
you
that are
love
good.
them.
There are a few that are good.
Yeah, I just want to point out there's a few movies you missed on this list. The one that I'm really surprised is Avatar. You didn't realize that was filmed here, but it is every single scene. Jurassic Park, Lord of the Rings. The whole trilogy was filmed in southern Utah. And
I knew Gondor looked familiar.
and Christmas Vacation. So you guys missed all 4 of those, probably the most popular ones, but just thought I'd point that out.
I'm like, Avatar, that doesn't have a real scene in the whole movie, does it? That's probably why you said it. You're so sly.
It's called comedy, Phil.
Executed excellently by Jeff here while driving his car and podcasting. with one hand.
Or those are just your favorite movies and you wish they were filmed in Utah.
Yeah.
I'm fantasizing over here.
It's like on Orange County, the movie. You guys remember that movie?
Yep.
When the English teacher who doesn't know anything about literature or history or anything related to English, he's talking about Shakespeare. He's like, Shakespeare, a lot of famous movies are based on his plays. Romeo and Juliet, The Talented Mr. Ripley,
Chocolat.
Chocolat. Anyway, that's what I felt like.
That's what you reminded us of,
Yeah,
Jeff.
Jeff. Thank you, Jeff.
Thanks, Jeff.
Well, I am a filmograph.
Is that a word, Matt?
Yes.
It is not. I'll tell you.
is.
Oh, it is.
It
Yep,
is now.
100%.
As of
100%.
Filmographer?
As of 8 seconds ago.
Filmologist?
I am a filmograph.
A filmist.
That works.
What's next?
Our next article, actually, I wanted to leave as the last article because I thought that Matt might have something to say about it. But the governor of Utah has announced that 750 Afghan refugees will be arriving in Utah over the coming months. And this article's not pulling up for me. There it is. Governor announces how many Afghan refugees are coming to Utah. There will be 750 over the coming months, actually 765. Officials say that number could change in the future and is in addition to the state's plan to resettle other refugees over the coming years. 2 resettlements agencies in Utah the International Rescue Committee and Catholic Community Services will manage the resettlement of all refugees coming to the Beehive State. Donations and volunteers are welcome for both agencies. So that's neat. We have some refugees coming to Utah.
And they're coming here and going where? Did they say? Like people are bringing them into their homes, or are they setting up like shelters, or what? How's that going down?
I'll tell you that when there's some specific apartment complexes that have, it's like a subsidized housing program, and they specifically will get federal funding for not just supplementing people's rent, but also paying for refugees. So a lot of times it's the affordable housing that you see around, which in Salt Lake sometimes is very nice. Like they have some good places up here for them.
Oh,
Yeah, that's mostly what they do.
that sounds good.
There will be a lot of them. I guess will come over on kind of like a work humanitarian, like a visa type migration.
Yeah.
And takes a couple years for them to like officially become citizens or permanent residents, I guess. But yeah, there's a resettlement program going on. I haven't read much into it, but I thought it was cool that we're bringing in some of those refugees from Afghanistan. It's kind of neat.
It is neat.
It is.
That program makes me so proud. And I'm not joking. Like to be a Utahn, an American, whatever it is, I think it is so awesome to do what we can as a small state, relatively small state, to help these guys out. Because knowing, from what I know, somewhat ignorantly, where they've come from and the opportunities they now have here is like the American dream. Like that is so cool. And they do have so many opportunities. I mean, just super neat. And I'm not kidding about it. I'm not being sarcastic or anything. I'm dead serious. It makes me so proud, actually.
Oh, I just shedded a tear. Thanks, Jeff.
You sharded a tear?
Yeah.
He is crying right now.
I shed a tear. So our main topic for the evening tonight is someone by the name of Matthew.
What's up, Matt?
Hello, everyone.
He's been here the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
I made a couple comments here and there.
Yeah.
Yeah, we appreciate him coming and being a part of the show. So Matthew is a father of 3, a husband of 1, and a return missionary, a piano expert, an Islam expert, and an entrepreneur. Matthew, why don't you tell us a little bit about your family?
Matt, you have three kids?
I have 3.
I thought you had
I have
one
begotten 3 children.
and then another. Did you have twins?
No.
You just had one after the other?
Yeah, that's how we did it. That's how we chose to do it.
They chose it to do one after the other.
That's fair.
So we didn't go backwards.
Yeah.
No. Our oldest is 5. He
Yeah.
just turned 5, and he just started kindergarten. So that's
What?
cute. That's what happens when you turn 5.
I know. I can't believe that your oldest is 5.
Which blows my mind because, like, I know you guys have kids that are older, but for me, like, I remember being 5.
Yeah.
I remember going to kindergarten. Like, I remember my teachers. I remember my friends. So it's like, man, he's like old now.
Yeah.
And it's sad, but cute. And then our second is 3. And then our youngest is, how old is he? He's 1. He just turned 1.
Wow.
So, yeah.
1, 3, and 5.
1, 3, 5,
spacing.
5, 3, 1. So they're just over 2 years apart each. It's pretty good spacing, or so people tell me.
Yeah. How many more are coming?
To be determined.
Oh,
We're
okay.
just taking it one at a time.
That's all right.
I mean, I come from, there's 6 kids in my family,
Yeah.
and then there's 5 kids in my wife's family. And so we're used to bigger families. So
So you got a small family.
we're
now,
okay. Right now is quote unquote small.
speaking. Right.
Tiny, minuscule for Utah.
Yeah.
But so we're definitely open to the idea of having a bigger-ish family.
Yeah. Oh, that's
4,
exciting.
5, 6.
Would you like to
little
continue
humans.
the about 2 year apart trend, or
Only time will tell.
okay,
Yeah.
I we have no game plan. So
just winging it?
Either does Jake.
Yeah, that's funny.
I'll give you some advice on the kids.
Let's hear it.
Don't wait 8 years and then have another one. That's what I did.
are you saying you regret that?
No, regret's a hard word. Wish I would have done it earlier. Yes.
Okay. That's fair.
But yeah, just you tend to start all the way over when you do it that way.
Yeah, so like we're just kind of in this baby phase and have been for the past almost 6 years.
Yeah.
So
I know that phase. Know it well. Like it was just a couple of years ago, which it was.
Phil also
You know
has
what they
3
say?
children.
You know that old saying, changing a diaper is just like tuning a piano. Am I right?
yeah, I've heard that once in my life, and it was just barely.
Oh,
Now I know that old saying.
every time he heard that was right
So,
now.
Yeah. Anyway, they are all boys. We haven't quite figured out how to make girls yet. I don't know if there's a special science to it or trick. We haven't figured it out.
Devin knows.
If there
He knows
is.
all
We
the.
could
Yeah, Devin
we
will tell
could
you.
call Trent. Trent will have some pointers for you.
Will he?
Oh, maybe Devin.
Yeah.
Yeah, inappropriate pointers, right?
So I was gonna say I don't know if he actually has any kids. Does he?
Well, not that we know
That
of.
we know of.
There are some
He
kids. Trust
He
me.
can give you pointers on that too, if you want.
On how to hide
How
your
to
children,
hide them.
How to not have kids. Yeah.
or how to make people think you don't
Wait,
have kids.
I have passed that. Everyone
Right.
knows we have kids. I just
Yeah.
announced it to the entire world.
Cat's out of the bag.
So
He's got kids. So Matthew
There you go.
has deep roots in American Fork. He grew up in American Fork, went to school in American
Born
Fork.
and raised.
Born and raised.
one time I moved from upstairs to downstairs though.
Oh, that's a big
That was a
migration.
stressful, big change in my life.
Yeah.
That, it was tough.
Yeah.
But you got over
I'm still
it, though.
here,
Yeah, you're
and I'm okay. I turned out okay.
probably tough recovery, I'm sure.
Which
So-
neighborhood was a little more rough? The upstairs or downstairs?
They're about the same, which made the transition even harder because I was expecting this big, massive, exciting thing, and it was just the exact same.
Beautiful.
So
Just a little darker.
it was, and colder. So
Climate is a little bit different. Yeah.
it's because it was Mike's old room.
Yeah. So there were a lot of shirts on the floor.
Yeah, I continued the trend
Yeah.
naturally.
As one does.
Yeah.
Yeah. Matt and Mike, they grew up in a really nice spot because their backyard kind of opened into like a huge field and forest and hills and trees and all kinds of stuff. So we were over there a lot.
We'd play paintball back there.
Paintball and
Best build forts.
yep, forts.
Night games.
It was a good Good time.
The backfields. Yeah.
Yep.
Backfields.
Yeah, now it's all just like a glossed over
Frisbee golf.
Kids
Kids soccer
I'm
games.
gonna-
tomfoolery.
I'm gonna regret if I don't ask this, but did you get Mike's
it.
bunk bed that had Jana's name written on it?
I'm unfamiliar with this Jana character.
You don't know about
Okay.
Jana. Okay.
Okay. It's fine. Mike just wrote
Mike will tell
Jana on a bunk bed because he was like in love with her, and I was just wondering if you got that bunk bed too.
It was wooden, and there were a lot of things etched into it,
Yeah.
along with a lot of stickers. So
So he didn't read them all.
probably not.
Should we
I got
say
bored.
Jana? Her last name?
No, let's not.
American
Oh wait,
Fork
you
High
already
School?
did. Okay, good job.
Okay, we won't mention it.
Good job editing, Jeff.
So yeah, the answer is no. I did not get that bunk bed.
Oh,
So-
dang it.
Yeah.
But
I'm
you guys
sorry.
did have a great place, and we loved going up to your house. I guess it's no secret to the listener at this point that we're really good friends with Mike, who is your brother, and so we loved the household.
Yeah, good place to grow up. Good environment. It's still like one of the best neighborhoods in American Fork.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it really is.
Do you have any fun stories about us when you were little?
I just have tons of memories of you guys hanging out there, being extremely loud, staying up late, playing Halo until the wee hours of the night
Mhm.
with like 4 Xboxes down in the basement, spread throughout the basement.
Still accurate, yes.
And let's see. I just remember like going down and like hanging out with you guys. You guys were always super awesome and inclusive of me. I think I probably, looking back on it, it was probably really annoying to you guys.
Well,
But-
the
No,
annoying
I
part
don't
was
think
you
so.
were better than all of us at Halo.
Well, yeah.
So,
Oh yeah, I do remember that.
I probably was.
Yeah.
That's no
yeah,
surprise.
Matthew was like a savant when it came to Halo
Yeah.
and probably first-person shooters as a whole. But anyway,
Yeah.
Something like that.
yeah.
No, Matt was a cool guy. He was a cool guy as a little guy, and now he's a big guy.
Cool big guy.
And still cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
An averagely cool big guy.
Yeah, and definitely handsomer than Mike.
How many
I'll
more
come
times can we
clean
say
that-
that tonight?
I'll come clean that there's 3 reasons why I'd come over to your guys' house. The first one was your mom's jam.
Mom's jam.
really-
Her canned goods in general.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They were
basically,
awesome.
That's good. That's a good classification. That's the reason number 1.
Because she had
Reason
jam and salsa and
Uh-huh.
like fruit, peaches and stuff.
I could just say, "Hey,
Sorry,
I'm
keep going.
hungry," and she'd totally make me something. Like she's such a sweetheart. Then number 2 was you, and then number 3 was Mike. So
May or may not be in that order.
no, I'm telling you
probably
right
is.
now, it's that order
It probably is.
specifically.
And you know what? My mom's
Number
still
1.
like that.
Canned goods.
She will, if you say, "Hey, I'm hungry," she'll just make you something. And
That's an,
it's-
invi-
or
that's an
she'll-
invitation.
Or
to
you
her.
won't even say, "I'm hungry." She'll just offer something.
Okay, we're
So
going over.
the pantry is still
If
stocked.
she has any
It's waiting for
raspberry
you,
jam.
Jeff.
You know what I miss was that spaghetti that she would chop up like spinach and put in. It was good.
I don't remember
That
this.
sounds
the spaghetti.
disgusting, but I'm not a spaghetti guy.
Oh, really?
No,
It was good.
even my mother's spaghetti.
Oh,
And she knows it.
I didn't like my mother's spaghetti, but I did like your mother's spaghetti.
So, Matthew, you also married someone from American Fork.
I did.
Her dad was my English teacher. And
In high school.
in
right?
high school.
Yeah.
Are we allowed to say last names?
Yeah, you can.
If you want, you
Yeah.
can say whatever you'd like.
Sam Beeson.
Sam Beeson.
Yeah.
Yes.
So he's like still to this day everyone's favorite teacher of everything.
He's still the king over there.
Yeah. I did not have the opportunity to take his class in high school. His class would always fill up.
Yeah, I'm
that.
sure.
Yeah.
And but I took his class at UVU and he was teaching adjunctly over there English. And so I took his class then while I was dating his daughter.
Oh, okay.
So, and he made fun of me every day.
Yeah.
And he
I'm
gave
sure.
me an A minus.
Oh.
So wait,
So-
what came first?
Come on,
Dating
Sam.
the daughter or taking the class?
I think I had signed up for his class before we started dating. We were friends for like 7 years before then, though. So like we knew each other really well.
Cute.
It is cute. I agree. So
super cute.
We were really good friends in high school. We both had, like, I had a girlfriend in high school. She had a boyfriend in high school. We'd always go on double dates together. And then she and I would always hang out after those dates. We'd go to like Sonic or like Beto's or something and talk about our dating drama to each other. And that's how our relationship blossomed in a friendship initially.
That's cute.
That is so cute.
So, and then we both served missions for the church. And then I came home in 2014. She came home like 3 months after me. And then things just kind of clicked.
Yeah.
And we started dating. It was really fast and weird.
So the mission didn't drift you apart. It just kind of
brought us close.
Came back together. Came back home from your mission, and you're like, "Oh, we're still cool with each other."
She was riding like 35 guys though, while she was on her mission, and one of those guys was in my mission. And I remember getting to the mission home one time, like halfway through, and I saw a letter from Sister Beeson, and I got so excited that it was for me, but it was for the other elder. I was so mad.
What was his name?
Elder James.
Elder James.
And
Look
it's
who's
really
laughing now, Elder James.
It's really funny, Jeff, because just to give you a little like perspective, as a missionary, like when the mail comes, it's like,
big
oh
deal.
my gosh,
It's like Christmas every week.
You're like so excited. So to pick up a letter from your girlfriend and then see that it's addressed to someone else, that would be intense. I should say. So
it sounds like she had the shotgun approach going on. 35 guys. Did you ever get a John Deere letter?
From her?
Dear John.
from her.
No.
Or from anyone.
No, we weren't. And I was writing 35 girls.
Yeah.
No, we were actually not dating at all. We were just really good friends.
I see.
You were story swappers before the mission.
Yes.
And then,
but obviously there was some like seed planted within me of I don't know.
interest.
Would you call it interest?
I mean, you were excited to see the
I
letter.
was excited to get letters from her. And then when I saw it wasn't for me, it ruined my week.
Yeah.
So, and by the way, the mail came for us like every 3 months.
Oh, really?
'Cause I was on like remote islands.
Whoa.
So you were in Indonesia.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's not like she wrote a letter and it came 3 days later because you were 4 states away. It was.
No. It would.
So you had said that some seeds were planted for your relationship, right? If you had to assign a vegetable, flower, or some sort of plant that is associated with that seed, what one would it be?
Ready, go.
This is probably the best question I've been asked all day.
Potatoes. They don't really have seeds.
And it came with an answer.
They got seeds. They're just embedded in there.
That is just one giant seed.
Yeah.
Jeff,
I know.
a potato. So I'll go with that. I like your answer.
No, don't take my answer.
Potatoes, they do. They spread out in the ground and they make more potatoes that grow.
Yeah.
So far,
But they
we've
don't
made
only
three
make
other
3 potatoes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What doesn't make very many offspring that
You came
would
prepared,
compare
Jeff.
your-
You came with the question and the answer.
I asked the hard questions.
See, zucchinis and tomatoes probably produce the most
Weight.
fruit thereof.
Yeah.
Pumpkins,
Pumpkins.
Pumpkins.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cherries.
sunflowers.
Cherry tomatoes?
No, I was thinking cherry trees. That'd be a lot of kids. That's like Brigham Young or something.
Yep.
There were a lot of children there.
Because Brigham Young had a lot of kids.
Over 50.
There's lots of branches.
Can you imagine having 50 kids?
Nope.
It sounds like hell to me.
If I had 50 wives, it would be more possible.
Like they all take care of a child each in a different house. And you would be cool with that.
I'm not saying I'd be cool with it, but it would be more doable if I had a ton of wives.
It'd be more doable than like one wife and just you in one house with 50 kids.
That is accurate.
Kid and house hopping.
Yeah. Okay.
Maybe it would be doable. Who knows? I'm not willing to try it though.
No.
Yeah, we're good. I'm good.
I knew a woman on my mission who had 18 children from her own body. And she had a picture of them all, like they were all girls, every single one. And she had a picture of them all dressed like cheerleaders. Blah, blah, blah,
This sounds
18.
like fake news.
This, I saw it. She could have printed out some magazine picture and showed it to me, but she's like, yeah, those are my daughters. I was like, these are not all your daughters. She's like, yeah.
That's why you don't ever that's why you don't ever try for the other sex. Like, oh, the next one we're gonna have a boy.
Right.
We're gonna have a boy.
Never play the gender
We're
game.
gonna have a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was wild.
Just let it happen. All right. So Matthew, you are also you're a business owner, and you repair and sell used pianos. Is that accurate?
That's part of it. Yes. So I am a registered piano technician.
Registered,
which
all right.
basically means that I know pretty much all things piano. So I started out my career like 10 years ago, just tuning pianos, making them sound better. And then I went on a mission, 2 years, came back, started getting back into that again. And then a couple years after that, I started getting into more of the repair side of things, and then into like kind of restoration and rebuilding them, like antique pianos, like replacing all of the strings and the hammers and the dampers and all that fun stuff, the guts of a piano, replacing those.
Yeah, he tears it apart and redoes it.
Phil's seen it.
Yeah,
So,
I've seen his handiwork.
firsthand.
He's good.
So, and then actually, beginning of this year, I had the thought, we're going to open a piano store. So we're doing that.
Are you?
Yeah. So
That's awesome.
we're opening a piano dealership in beloved American Fork.
Wow.
Yeah. Wah, wah, wah.
That's
Full
awesome.
circle.
What's it called?
It's called MJ Pianos.
Yeah?
MJ is for my initials, Matthew Johnson. I love my parents,
Yeah.
but they blessed me with two of the most common names in the world,
Yeah.
at least in America.
Yep.
It's not Muhammad or I'm trying to think of another common J name. But no, yeah, Matthew Johnson. So I had to spice things up somehow. So
Yeah.
I decided to just use my initials, MJ.
MJ.
It's kind of catchy.
Yeah.
People sometimes get mad that it's not like Michael Jackson or Michael Jordan that comes to their house to tune their piano.
Yeah. Or Michael Johnson,
Or Michael
the basketball
Johnson.
player.
Or MJ
Or my
from
brother.
Spider-Man.
Yeah. Or your brother.
Because he can't tune pianos. None of those people can tune pianos.
Nope.
I am the only MJ that can tune pianos that I know of.
Who is
Yeah.
certified
So, yes,
to
to do
tune
such.
pianos.
Mhm.
Yeah, I follow you on the Instagrams.
Yes,
And
thank you.
I like your videos. They're short. They're educational. It's like, look at this damper thingy majig. It's worn out, but this one's not. Look how this one sounds better. And stuff like that.
There you
It's
go.
kind of cool. I
Educate.
enjoy watching those.
Thank you.
those
Thank you
videos.
for watching. Thank you for supporting me, Jake.
You're welcome.
I bet Phil doesn't do that.
And I double tap on them.
I
a
don't
lot.
even know
That's-
what an Instagram is.
There you go. My
I've never-
point proven.
Never logged into one.
Instagram.
It's kind of like TikTok.
Yeah. Okay. Then I kind of know because someone explained that to me.
No, it's not TikTok.
Yeah.
But
It's like a Telegram, Phil, but instantly.
Yeah. There you go.
yep, I like that.
Singing and otherwise.
So, anyway, so I figured I am someone who knows pianos inside and out better than anyone else, any other like piano salesman or anyone out there. So I'm like, I would be good at selling these, I think. And so I did like literally hundreds of hours of research, and I like traveled to California and to Texas to like kind of test out different pianos to see which ones I wanted to carry in my store. And I made my selection, and that's what we're doing. So because pianos stores are kind of like car dealerships where they have sort of exclusivity on brand new products. So I like, for example, I'm not allowed to sell like a brand new Yamaha or a brand new Kawai or something, or a brand new Steinway.
You have to be a dealer
You have to be
to
an
sell
official dealer. So I'm going to be the official dealer of a few brands that
Cool.
no one else is allowed to sell brand new.
Oh,
So
cool.
It is pretty cool.
That is cool.
So in fact, one of those companies is called C. Bechstein, and it's a German piano. If the name didn't give it away.
Bechstein.
Bechstein.
Yeah.
Bechstein.
With two dots.
The gringo
somewhere.
way is to say just Bechstein, but the German way is Bechstein.
Okay.
So I'll be traveling to Berlin in November to do some concert technical training for that.
Wow.
So that'll be pretty fun.
Wow.
So
that's cool.
So that's what I do for my livelihood. Now, on the flip side of that, I have a degree from Brigham Young University in Middle Eastern Studies and Arabic.
That's right.
Now, I know what you're thinking right now. Pianos and Arabic go hand in hand really well, right?
Yeah, I was like, oh, of course.
So many
That's the
similarities.
Next thing.
Because all the pianos are made in those Arab countries.
Exactly not correct. That's not right. That's actually not true. Don't listen to Phil.
Yeah.
Fake news alert.
Fake news. So, two very, not polarizing, just different things that I'm interested in. So
that's way cool. And you went on a mission in Indonesia, and you spoke some Arabic there. Is that right?
So the Indonesia Jakarta mission, Indonesia is the largest Muslim population in the entire world.
Wow, I didn't
think
realize
it'd be
that.
somewhere in the Middle East, but it's not. It's actually Indonesia. The majority of Muslims actually live outside the Middle East. So in places like Indonesia, India, China, places like that.
Yeah.
So Malaysia, Singapore.
Philippines.
Yeah, there's a bunch of Muslims in the Philippines as well. So population-wise, not like by percentage, though. It's probably, Indonesia is probably 90% Islam. There's probably, and then like 7% Christianity, then 3% whatever else.
Yeah.
Buddhism, Hinduism, etc.
Right.
So Confucianism. So my mission language was Indonesian. Excuse me. Was Indonesian, which is a funky language. It was basically created in the 40s when Indonesia sort of gained its independence. So it's a fairly new language as far as languages go. Most languages are hundreds of, if not thousands of years old.
Yeah, it's only 80 years.
And so it's a young language. It's a conglomeration of a lot of its tribal languages and has a lot of Arabic influence in it, Portuguese influence, Dutch and Chinese influence in Indonesian.
Wow.
So it's a melting pot of languages. So there's literally hundreds. I used to know the exact number. It's over 500 actual distinct languages in Indonesia, I believe. Just because there's thousands and thousands of islands there.
Yeah.
So pretty cool. So I was acquainted. So I learned Indonesian, became quite proficient in it. I learned a bit of a local language called Javanese as well. Not Japanese, Javanese, the language of Java, which is the island there where Jakarta is. I served in an area in northern Sumatra, where they spoke a language called Bataknese. So that's kind of fun. I learned how to say thank you in like 12 different languages there.
Yeah. And did you, so when you pretty much transfer areas, you were like learning a new language or dialect, or did everyone speak the core one?
Most everyone, except for there was some of the older generation that did not speak Indonesian. They only spoke the tribal language, the area local language. So Indonesian was actually most people's second language. Right. It was the national language, is what they spoke in school and the news, but sometimes like in their homes, they would speak their local language, like Javanese or Bataknese. So
it's very similar in the Philippines. Yeah. Everyone speaks Tagalog. But everyone's area. But it kind of depended on where you went. Some places you went, they only spoke their like old dialect. So
more like in the modern, like in Jakarta, I would say it's more modern, quote unquote modern. I don't know, more progressive. They mostly just speak Indonesian strictly. But the farther east you would go, like in Central or East Java, there was a lot more Javanese that they would speak in the streets. And so it was good to learn a bunch of phrases to talk to people, because they would just be blown away. Yeah. When you could speak. Right. Well, they'd be blown away that you could speak Indonesian, first of all. And then when you actually took the time to learn their actual native language, their mother tongue, they would be even more impressed. Yeah. And so that you would take the time to learn. How does Arabic come into this? Like I said before, largest Muslim population in the world. Arabic is the liturgical or religious language of Islam. And so therefore the Quran is in Arabic, and Muslims say if you haven't read the Quran in Arabic, you haven't really actually read it. If it's translated into another language, you've lost its magic or a lot of its meaning, and you just don't get the full scope of it. So they always had Arabic. It's very rare that you'll find a Quran in just a second language. That you'll usually find an Arabic translation. Sorry, the Arabic and then the translated language
on the other next page
on the next
or whatever.
Page, exactly. So like I've got a Quran at my house. It has Arabic on one side and then Indonesian on the other side. I've got one with Arabic and then English on the one side. And I've got one just Arabic. So,
and it is true. Is it true that Qurans need to be kept like covered, like when they're stored? Is that
did I see any covered Qurans? I can't remember, but they would. I'd often see they hold their scriptures in very high regard, which I like a lot. Yeah. They would usually be kind of put on this sort of pedestal on top of a table, usually open to a particular verse, or it was closed. And I don't know if there was a rule there or not, but they were set in a prominent area in the home. Oftentimes I would see them open, but kind of like sitting on some sort of pedestal that would raise it up from the table and kind of tilt it, slant it kind of. So it's
ease of reading
diagonally. So you could notice it easily and you could read it easily, which I thought was kind of cool.
Yeah.
So
that is cool.
How sacred they hold them to be. So a lot of Indonesians did not speak Arabic, but they knew how to read the characters. They could sound out the letters because they use a different alphabet. It just looks like a bunch of weird scribbles, squiggly scribbles.
Cursive scribbles.
Cursive
squiggly
scribbles. Cursive scribbles. Say that 12 times
Cursive
fast.
squibbly
once.
scribbles.
Or just once.
Cursive squibbly
once is hard enough. So, so they would read the Quran in Arabic, even though they didn't know what it was saying. But like I said, it had its own translation side of it, so that the Indonesians, people who don't speak Arabic natively, can still kind of understand it.
Right? Yeah.
So they believe that's what you're going to speak in heaven. So you guys are kind of screwed.
Yeah.
Unless we learn it.
And that there's still time. There's still time to learn it. They'd have the call to prayer 5 times a day on these big loudspeakers. That call to prayer was in Arabic as well. There were mosques on every street corner, kind of like here in Utah. There's an LDS chapel on every street corner.
Yeah.
Same there, except there's more frequently there'd be a mosque on.
And that call to prayer, does that happen in like all Muslim countries? Is that that's pretty common? Because I see that in like movies and stuff, or they're
where Muslims are the majority, and it's like not going to bug everyone else,
right?
So where it's widely accepted that like, this is what we do.
It's the norm.
We pray. We take a few minutes out of our day to pray 5 times a day.
People carry around either like a prayer rug, right? Do they use those often, or is it just
it's part of the ritual? And I mean, the call to prayer comes on 5 times a day. That doesn't mean everyone stops what they're doing and like kneels down on a rug in the middle of the street or whatever and starts praying. They'll usually go do it in private. Sometimes you'll see that. But most buildings, like businesses or just business where people work, or at school where they have their daily activities, they'll have kind of a prayer room designated for those prayer rituals. So, yeah.
Wow, that's cool.
That's cool.
And since your mission and since you've been married, you've actually lived in Jordan. Is that right?
Yep.
For a year?
We lived there, not a year, just a semester. So it was like 4 months.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
4 months or so. This was back in 2017. So my wife and I, Liza and I, and at the time, 1.5-year-old son, our oldest, who is now 5.5, we lived there for a semester to study Arabic at a private Arabic institute.
Wow.
So.
And how did the culture in Jordan compare to Indonesia, with both of them being largely Islamic or Muslim places? Was it kind of the same, just different language, or?
Very different language. Yeah. Arabic and Indonesian. Like I said earlier, Arabic has a lot of influences on Indonesian.
Right.
But they sound completely different. There's a lot of similar vocabulary, but the grammar is completely different. Indonesian is actually like one of the easiest languages to learn. There's no tenses, there's no conjugations, there's no genders, there's no like casing, but Arabic has all those crazy things. And the way to make a word plural in Indonesian is you just say the word twice.
Oh, wow.
Really?
I see cars, I see car.
Yeah.
That's super simple. But in Arabic, you have the singular, then you have a dual plural, and then you have a more than two plural.
Yeah.
So it's different. Honestly, it was not too different. In Indonesian, you see like a ton. It's probably the same in the Philippines. A ton of like mopeds, like little scooters. Mm-hmm. It was just a sea of scooters all over the place. Cars were pretty rare. A lot more cars in Jordan. It was probably a little bit more developed.
Yeah.
And modern in Jordan. It was like, as far as the culture and like talking to people, it was actually fairly similar. There's a couple of minor differences like between Javanese culture and Jordanian culture, but nothing crazy of note.
So is it fair to say that like that countries that are predominantly Islamic, because they're in general really devoted to that religion, that kind of is the culture of that country? Like would we expect to see the same in Iraq and Iran and Uzbekistan or any of those countries surrounding that? That's the case, or would it be different?
Probably very similar. I've never been to other countries in the Middle East. I've been to Palestine, Israel, Palestine, the Holy Land. I've been there, but that was very similar because almost pretty much half of Jordan's population is Palestinian.
Oh, wow.
So almost everyone I talked to was either a Jordanian or a Palestinian. So their cultures are very similar. They have the Arabic that they speak. There's different Arabic dialects that's very similar as well. The Palestinian and the Jordanian dialect are very similar. I could speak to them both easily. I could speak to Iraqis because there are a lot of Iraqi refugees also.
Yeah.
Living in Jordan. Talk to some Saudi people over there. I could still speak to them. The farther away in the Arab world you get, the harder it is to communicate with someone. Like one time I was up in Salt Lake and I noticed two people who looked Middle Eastern. So I got a little bit closer and I listened and I could tell that they were speaking Arabic. And this was like, I was in Arabic 102. Like I was just barely learning Arabic. But they were talking to each other and I went up and I asked them where they're from in Arabic. And one guy said, "Oh, I'm from Egypt." And the other girl said, "I'm from Morocco." Morocco is as far away as you can get in the Arab world. It's the farthest. So in North Africa, it's the farthest west country over there. So a lot of French and Spanish influences in their Arabic. And that Arabic is just completely different. When she was talking to me, I had no idea what she was saying. When the Egyptian was talking to me, I got I got a fair amount of what he was saying, but it was still quite different from the Arabic I was learning at the time. So I met some more Egyptians in Jordan as well. And for me, it was hard to communicate with them. Like the building manager, cleaner, custodial guy for our apartment building, he was Egyptian and I had a hard time speaking with him.
Yeah.
But, so fairly similar cultures, I would assume. But like I said, I have not been to Iraq or Syria.
So since you're the most, what's the word? Expert on the subject that we know, all these people that are coming here from Afghanistan, like you've never been to Afghanistan, but you have an idea about maybe the religious culture that they live. Like, what are some of the biggest differences and changes they're going to see coming here to Utah?
They'll find a community. Like there are mosques up in Salt Lake City. There's one in West Valley. There's one in Sandy. I believe there's one in Draper. Is there one in actual Salt Lake City? I don't think so. I can't remember. But like they'll find their community. There's Mediterranean and like Middle Eastern markets for their food. It's I think it's becoming more and more common. If you are walking, you'll see a woman wearing kind of a headdress, a hijab.
Hijab or hijab?
Hijab is how you say it with an Arabic accent. Okay. So a hijab, the literal translation for it is partition. It's like something to cover you from in front of something else. So
So I'll tell you, I live up here in Salt Lake.
Yeah,
I live in
probably
Salt
seen
Lake,
a lot more.
obviously. Mm-hmm. And it was really cool because my daughter goes to school. She's in 5th grade, and she has her friends, and she talks about her friends all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And I just somehow we got on the subject, and it was really cool to me because one of them wears a hijab. Is that how you say it? Every day to school.
Yeah.
And her family's all totally Muslim. And the reason I thought it was so cool is because growing up in American Fork when we didn't even really have that opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there just wasn't that group of people around. And so it was very neat to me that my kids are able to have some experiences like that and befriend people that are totally from a different culture and very different.
I think it's awesome too.
Yeah. And she's a sweetheart too. She's a good kid.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're honestly amazing, and probably some of the biggest differences they'll see. They're very religious over there, especially I'd say it's extremely conservative in Afghanistan as well, especially under the control of the Taliban, and lots of extreme oppression over there. I mean, recently with the U.S.'s occupation over there, it was better without the Taliban when they were trying to organize their own Afghan government. And we saw some real progress. We just couldn't sustain it, unfortunately. Yeah. When we pulled out. So they're going to see just differences, the big main differences between Western and that Eastern culture that they're used to. A lot more. I think we're probably, on the whole, I'm speaking generally here, more worldly than they are. Yeah. There's more opportunities here, like Jeff was saying earlier, more opportunities here than there are over there, especially now that the U.S. is gone. The U.S.
More viral TikTok trends here.
Way more viral TikTok trends here.
Yeah, they might not like that TikTok. But these people coming here, they belong to, so is Islam like a really centralized religion? Like when they come here, does it matter what mosque they go to? Or is there like kind of a style for this one versus this one that they may, like, I know which one I'm going to go to because of A, B, or C. Like
that is a loaded question.
Yeah.
Where do we begin? In short, no. Islam is not centralized at all.
Oh, okay.
And it is not a monolith like Islam in Jordan can be quite different from Islam in Afghanistan and from Islam in Indonesia and from Islam in India or the Philippines.
Right.
There's no like in Catholicism or in our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, we do have centralized authority, and it's like if there's a question, it's like, let's ask the quorum of the 12, right?
Right.
What do they have to say about it? And that's what goes.
Right.
In Islam, they don't have that after the Prophet Muhammad died a long time ago. Why can't I remember the year he died?
604.
No, later. Long time ago.
Yeah.
There were lots of like power struggles and disputes as to who would get the authority to lead the Ummah, the people, the Muslims at that time. Yeah. And so from that, a few different like kind of branches, like you've heard of like Shias and Sunni Muslims probably somewhere in the news over the past 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those are two different factions, sects of Islam. So
I think that was the big thing when we invaded Iraq, right? That Saddam Hussein was super oppressive to, was it the Shiites? The Shia is how you say it. That's kind of where my memory comes from that. But
there's a lot of there are like separate mosques, and the way that they worship are slightly different in like a Shia mosque or a Sunni mosque. And I believe there is actually a Shia mosque here in Utah, but I'm blanking on where it is. But the majority of Muslims across the world are Sunnis. So, which and that's just the most commonly accepted one. But sometimes you'll ask a Muslim, and I'm like, if you say, hey, "Are you a Shia, or are you a Sunni, or are you a Sufi, and they'll say, I don't know. I'm just a Muslim.
Yeah.
And I believe in the Quran. I believe in the Prophet Muhammad, and I believe in God. And I'm like, okay, cool. And so some of them don't even recognize that there are different sects, or they probably recognize it, but they don't like openly talk about it or admit it or team up with one side or the other. They just say, I'm a Muslim. That's who I am. So
I would like to point out that I was only 28 years off.
Yeah, you said 604. He died in 632 AD.
Jake pulled that up. So, but you were right. It was later.
It was later.
Yeah.
I know something.
Hi, Jeff. You have a question?
Go ahead.
Matt knows everything.
I have a question for our guests.
Go ahead.
This is a gotcha question. No, I'm just kidding.
I love those.
No, I suck at them. So sorry.
Why do you hate Trump? Why is Trump the worst?
Such a good question.
Do you still beat your wife? Just kidding. No, but
no.
The question is, what is the one thing that you've seen in the American scene, if you will, that is misunderstood, misduplicated, totally ignorantly ignored from that culture that maybe we should educate people on? Like, I've heard things about images of Muhammad, and I don't know if that's like a big deal or there's certain, you know what I'm trying to get at is like, there's certain things that we ignorantly do or don't do that is not okay to these people. And have you seen something like that maybe we should keep our eye on?
Let me ask you
and beat up someone better. When they...
Jeff is trying to say...
I want to hear Phil's interpretation of that question.
Jeff is trying to say, what do we do as Americans that might be offensive to these people so that we might be aware of it when they come, so that we can do it more? Is that what you're getting at?
We could probably do it less, is my guess.
Yeah, but I'm just teasing.
Oh, okay.
Everything that Phil does, they will offend them.
Yeah.
Jeff, you're good. Jake?
Oh, okay.
You're kind of the middle ground.
Okay.
So I stay away from people mostly anyway, so I think we'll be
there
okay.
You go. Good. That's probably a good call.
Yeah. I'll just be here till they get really acclimated.
Honestly, I think it's same across all cultures and religions. You're going to have those who are very extremely like orthodox, devoted to their religion, and like anything you do that is something that they don't believe in, they're going to take the wrong way and be extremely offended.
Yeah.
And then you'll have, we've heard the term Jack Mormon, and they have Jack Muslims. It's like they go out and party and do things that other Muslims might not deem as appropriate or following their religion. Although, Jeff, you did mention like the illustrations of Muhammad, they actually don't always believe in illustrating him.
Or not illustrating him?
Do not believe in like painting like pictures of him.
Oh, right.
And like, because it puts him there's two reasons. I'm trying to think of the second one. One of them, like they don't want to like look at him as an idol. Like they only worship God.
Right.
But they highly, highly, highly revere Muhammad. And I don't know exactly why they don't like illustrating him, but when other people try to illustrate him, it's very offensive to them.
Yeah.
Whenever they say his name or the name of any other prophets, they will usually say, like even in casual conversation like this, like Muhammad, they'll say, "Peace be upon him," or "Peace and prayers be upon him." So
like every time
the name is said. So that's how highly they revere him. So they'll do that with Muhammad, with Moses, with Abraham, with Jesus, with Jonah, with all, they believe in a lot of the Old Testament prophets.
And they do that with all of them.
With, from what I've heard.
Yeah. Huh.
So, just, and those big names, just Moses, Abraham, Muhammad, Jesus. So
they, it's interesting how, just trying to figure out how the Jewish culture and the Muslim culture, or is it not Muslim culture?
So, technical correction. Islam
culture
is the religion. A Muslim linguistically,
like the nationality.
Muslim is the person. is the worshiper, is the member, quote unquote, member of that religion. Islamic is things pertaining to Islam. So Islamic culture, you could say Muslim culture. I
wasn't sure. I knew that they were different, but I didn't know which one was
when you put that correct. That mu prefix on a word, it makes it into usually a person.
Okay,
place sometimes.
Cool.
So Muslim is the person.
Okay, cool. So as far as you said that they believe in a lot of the Old Testament prophets, and as do the Torah. Is it not? It is the first 5 books of the Old Testament. Is that right?
I think so.
So it's just interesting how there's
I remember.
They both have that common belief or the common kind of backbone of their scripture, and yet there is so much turmoil and disagreement among the two religions. I just thought that was because I didn't know that. And maybe I've learned in the past, but I at least I didn't remember that.
There's a lot of
belief in the Old Testament,
common beliefs there, especially if you go back far enough. But to answer Jeff's question, speaking ill of those prophets or of God in general is quite offensive to them, especially God.
Is there Steve Carell did a movie that was pretty obviously about Noah. So is that not cool?
Evan Almighty.
Yeah, the Evan Almighty movie.
It's probably been more than 15 years since I've seen that movie, so I can't remember it very well, but I have seen it.
Well, I should correct. It's not about Noah, right? It's about
Noah-esque, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's a modernized version of Noah. It's like a.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's about the other guy that got all the animals together and put them on a boat.
Exactly.
But I mean,
that's right.
But I mean, he's like a modern. It's like Bruce Almighty. Bruce is Bruce. Evan Almighty. Evan is Evan. He's doing the same things as Noah, but it's not a movie about Noah.
They might just think it's stupid,
but it is a depiction of an Old Testament prophet.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. It's not because he's not Noah.
Right, but it is a modern depiction of the Noah story. Is what I'm trying to say.
The Noah story. Yeah. I get you.
All I know is Siskel and Ebert gave it 2 thumbs up. So,
well, I think that was after Siskel died.
Is that
Ebert
2 out of 4 thumbs?
They've only got 2 thumbs now because one of them's dead.
Oh,
yeah,
but
it's terrible.
So that with you saying that, how much regard they hold the prophets. In kind of sheds a little bit of light on the situation that we had several years ago in France with Charlie Hebdo, the French magazine or whatever that had an artistic depiction of the prophet, and it caused some outrage. And there was
a cartoon,
it was a little cartoon.
Someone died over that.
Yeah, it was not a good thing.
There's a big attack and all kinds of stuff.
Especially if in Islam you've got 1.6 billion Muslims.
Yeah.
Which means you have 1.6 billion different opinions on what things should be. Especially, and it's very difficult when you don't have centralized authority.
Right.
So the swings of extremism and progressivism are just that they're very extreme.
Room for a lot of interpretation.
Very extreme. So if you do something, if you lay something out there in front of 1.6 billion people, you're bound to offend a couple of them.
Yeah,
severely.
Yeah, enough. Yeah, and that was one of the other questions I had was obviously this whole war in the Middle East is a war that we are fighting against these extreme Islamic people who.
Wait, what war?
The war that's now over in the Middle East.
That one. Okay.
The one that just ended that lasted 20 years.
Hallelujah.
The 20-year war.
Yeah. Obviously from what you say, and it there's a lot of reverence that I think is due to any religious culture that goes back as far as something like Islam, Christianity. But then you have, I think, a lot of sour apples that are the extremists who take it to the extreme, so much so that there's violence and things that occur. So I think there's a lot of probably a lot of misunderstanding of the Islamic culture as a whole because of these sour apples.
Oh, totally. Because unfortunately, that's all the news outlets will pick up.
Yeah,
are the sour bits.
Yeah, if it bleeds, it reads,
bits.
right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
well, and the funny thing about that too is that can convey in not just the Islamic religion and the Muslims, and it conveys over to all religions.
Are you hiding under a desk?
No. Think so.
Are you peeing?
No, I'm charging my phone. I mean, okay, so here, I'm charging my phone.
I cut right in the middle of your serious moment. Go ahead.
Start up.
Yeah. So I was going to bring up, I went to Chick-fil-A today, okay? No, wait, that wasn't the one. What I was going to bring up was...
Basically in the Middle East.
So you're right. There's people that can get offended among those billions of people that are Muslim and that believe in Islam, right? But the truth is that you can look at that across every religion and every group of people. There's going to be extremes, and I think that's kind of what Matt was talking about. Is that you can bring up extremes in every scenario to the point where these certain groups of people almost have a different religion than what this other group does. You know, and so the bad apples are definitely not any one place. These bad apples are everywhere in every religion that I know of. And I'm not saying that those religions are bad. Most religions are extremely good and have great people in them and mean very well for the community and for everyone's spirituality. But yeah.
And I'll just say, those are great cents. Those are great 2 cents. And I'll say,
thank you.
Shiny.
Along those lines, when we were living in Jordan, we felt safer living in Jordan than we did living in South Provo, like significantly.
Oh, yeah.
So
it's true. There have been like 3 shootings right around my house this year. So
yeah. So
not that I live in Provo.
I have spoken with literally thousands of Muslims. Because both of the activities I was doing in both of those countries required me to talk to a lot of people. Being a missionary, right? You're expected to speak to almost everyone you see, right? To whether you're passing them on the street or sitting next to them in public transportation. So I talk to a lot every single day. And then while in Jordan, I'm learning Arabic. Like our homework was literally to go out for several hours every day and just talk to people. And not one of them were one of those sour apples you were talking about. So, yeah, unfortunately, we our news outlets pick up on all the TV shows. Yeah, like 24. I think it's 24 is notorious. Amazing show
of that for sure. Love it though.
But Jack Bauer is not the best educator on what Islam actually is.
Yeah,
he's good at everything else though.
Well, I brought up the same thing of like even shootings, like. Supposedly so many people died from shootings every single day, all the time, ever since we were little kids. But then I asked these guys like last week, like, how many people do you know that have been shot or that have been murdered with a gun? And it's like, well, I don't know anyone. It's like, exactly, because the majority of it, people don't get murdered. The vast majority. But those 1% or 0.5%, 1/4%, whatever it is, those are the ones that the news agencies pick up on and report about that live in Chicago or wherever else. And it's not to say those things don't exist, but if you walk around planet Earth, you'll realize, we're not living with dinosaurs that are trying to eat you all the time. It's much more pleasant than that.
Yep.
Well, and the reverse goes for their understanding as well. And one thing I kind of reminisced or remembered as we're kind of commemorating this 20 year after September 11th is that we had several incidences where soldiers were over there and did horrible things, peed on bodies and made, tortured people and things like that. And so in the same light, their perception can be really skewed of how Americans are based on those few, and none of us think like that is representative of America at all.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that, that's largely the same in the Islam world for those type of
We're
things.
not immune
Yeah,
to that.
exactly.
Yeah, any group in society is not. Unfortunately, the sour apples are the ones that get the attention.
So living in Jordan and in Indonesia, I say Jordan because that was the most recent, most fresh in my mind. We met, seriously, the most incredibly amazing people. We had wonderful experiences and the most charitable people in the world lived there. There was a lady on a bridge that we would cross every single day. There's a big bridge. You walk up some stairs, cross the bridge. They would cross over a big busy street that would go down to a restaurant on the other side. We would eat lunch there almost every single day. And there was a homeless woman that would sit atop that bridge. And she was just selling little candy, little tiny trinkets, and anything. And you just look at her and the first thought that comes to you is she has nothing. She's got nothing. I remember Oliver, our at the time 1.5-year-old would go up and kind of like engage with her, interact a little bit. And she would like give him candy out of her, she had like 10 pieces of candy that she was trying to sell, and she'd just give him one. And we try and pay her for it. And she'd say, oh, no, don't worry about it. It's just like, seriously? Our next door neighbors in one of our apartments that we lived in there, he was a refugee from Iraq. He used to be a translator for the U.S. military. And the ISIS was trying to kill him. And so they fled to Jordan, he was trying to apply for a visa to come to the United States so he could actually be really safe. But Jordan was as far as he got. Same thing. Like they had almost nothing. And they would always invite us over for dinner and just like give us these lavish dinners. And you could see the kids in the next room over, like eating not even close to the amount that we were eating. They were just so charitable and so neighborly and just like trying to be nice to us. And that was our experience with everyone we met there. Those are just a couple of examples that I'm thinking of. And same in Indonesia. Very hospitable, very giving, and charity is the word I keep coming to. So it doesn't sound like terrorism to me.
No, not at all.
Sounds great.
What is one thing that you've learned in your journeys in Jordan or Indonesia that you wish to or try to implement in your life as a change to the way that you live your life normally?
Just being open-minded to everyone you meet, to new ideas, be welcoming to it, be willing to study it out. If someone thinks differently than you, your initial response is, no, you're wrong. But pausing for a second and think, why do they think like that? And stepping yourself in their shoes, researching it, and actually figuring out where that person is coming from. And that's blessed my life tremendously. And those are things that I learned with my degree and living in the Middle East and with those other experiences. I think that's a huge thing.
Yeah.
So
Sounds like too much work.
it is, Phil. It is a lot of work. And not everyone's up to the task.
It is hard to become a better person.
Yeah.
Right?
I agree. But Matt certainly is a great one. We're glad to have him here.
Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show. Is there, so if, to wrap things up, if somebody would like to have a piano tuned or repaired, how do they get in contact with you?
My website is mjpianos.com. You can follow me on Instagram at mjpianos. If you want to like see some cool stuff about the piano and the inside of it and how it works, you have to follow that because it's really cool.
I agree.
So
I testify to that.
Jake's testimony is stronger because of my piano knowledge.
And it's on Instagram.
Yeah. It's on the Instagram.
Okay. The Insta Talk.
So you can send it to me then.
Yeah, I could do a screen record of a video and send it to you. Yes.
So
Perfect.
I'll often like reach out to like well-known pianists and say, hey, if you want to learn more about your instrument, follow my page,
Yeah.
and you'll be educated about it. So, yeah,
That sounds good. Yeah, and he's great. He does my piano, and he's quick, and he's nice, and he's handsome. So call him on up. He'll come over,
all great things.
tune your piano, sell you a piano, fix your piano, anything to do with pianos.
And I'll say something in Arabic to you.
Yeah.
Or German if you buy one of his pianos.
Or German. I am actually learning German right now.
Oh,
Sweet.
There you go.
So that I can use it when I go there in November.
So if
be
you
helpful.
speak German or Arabic or
English.
Jakarta,
Indonesian.
Indonesian
Or English.
or English. And,
Javanese.
and
Or
Javanese.
Javanese.
That was it.
Yeah.
And you need a piano. Call Matt,
There you go.
which should be pretty much everyone.
There you go. Real quick, if I could wrap up with a couple things from my, and we talked a lot about Islam tonight and what it is and what it isn't, or what it usually isn't. There's three things that you should do when you're comparing religions. One is always, as often as you can, obtain your information from an adherent to that religion as often as you can, or someone who knows a lot about it. I don't know everything about it, but I know more than a lot of people here in Utah. But I'm not an adherent to it. But you did the best you could.
Yeah.
The other is to never compare your best to their worst. So, for example, like we have Mother Teresa and you have Osama bin Laden.
Right.
It's like, no, you can't do that. Always try to find equal ground and never compare best to worst. The third thing is always have holy envy, which is like finding something in that religion. And it doesn't even have to be religion, just a way someone lives their life. And say, but I'll use religion for an example, like, oh, that is something that person does in Islam that brings them closer to God. How can I implement that myself? I really like that. How can I implement that myself in my own worship and my own spirituality? So like, for example, the Quran and how they view the scriptures and how sacred they are to them and having them up on that pedestal. It's like, oh, do I look at my holy texts with that much sacredness? Mm-hmm. Or they pray 5 times a day. It's like, when was the last time I prayed 5 times in one day? Like little things like that. That's an example. So there's always good things that you can pull from religion, from culture, from political views, from just the way that someone lives their life. There's always something positive about it. So the goal is to find that thing.
Cool.
So
I like it.
Thanks, Matthew.
What, Jeff?
Sane words from a young man. If the whole world was like that, we would have very little problems.
If every man were like unto Matt Johnson, the very powers of hell would be shaken forever. Is that what you're...
That's what he was going for, yeah.
That's exactly what I said verbatim. And the second verse is, if they acted like Phil, we'd all be sitting on the couch playing Metroid.
Super Metroid. Come on.
Game.
Sorry. I don't mean to offend.
We won't take offense.
Exactly.
Well, thanks, Matthew, for being on the show. Thanks everybody, for listening. This has been another episode of American Forks Podcast. We love you. Bye.
Bye.
See ya. Ma salama in Arabic.
How do you say it?
Ma salama.
Ma salama.
Mm-hmm.
Is the ma 1A or 2? Is there a ma?
Ma. It's a different
like
character
swallowing
in your
your
throat.
A,
it's like
kind
constricting your airway. It's like
Ma. Ma salama. Ma salama.
Try it, Jeff.
It's just like the song, Phil. Ma salama.
Yes.
You sit down to play that piano. Sounds like your old iPod Nano. You ain't gonna be able to sing your soprano unless you call MJ Pianos. He cranks on that screw like he was tying his shoe. You feel so much better like he's making it new. It sounds like an angel and it ain't askew, so let him through. MJ before it sounded like something bad word, and now MJ
be good.